matter shows up in three physical states that we're concerned with: solids, liquids, and gases. There are more. The next one would be a plasma, which would be an ionized gas such as a flame. That's also very interesting to chemists. And there are others also that we're not going to be concerned about. So solids, the molecules or atoms are close packed. They're shoulder to shoulder, and they're in a rigid location. Doesn't mean they're not moving. They vibrate, and they can occasionally change location, but they are generally stuck in one spot, shoulder to shoulder with adjacent atoms. Liquids are shoulder to shoulder but not stuck. So liquids are fluid because the atoms and molecules are in constant motion. It's crowded like a Tokyo subway, but it's moving. So the atoms and molecules are sliding over each other. And gases, the atoms or molecules, are widely spaced. It's an empty field, empty volume, with a couple molecules flying along until they hit something and then change direction and fly along until they hit something. So again, gases are also fluids. So since liquids and gases have moving atoms and molecules, the physical properties become fluid. So gases will expand because there's space between the atoms and molecules for a gas. Gases will expand to fill a container completely or be compressed when the volume is reduced. But it flows, it mixes, diffuses. Liquids, since their atoms and molecules against each other, this is considered to be a condensed phase, just as solids. It does not compress or expand to any significant degree. The liquid is fluid since the molecules are moving, so it takes the shape of the container, but the bottom of the container doesn't fill the whole container. So it is fluid, takes the shape of the container, but does not expand to fill the whole container. And solids, being fixed with rigid locations, has a fixed shape and will not change shape or does not have significant compression capabilities. Anything new here? So gases moving very quickly at room temperature. Gas molecules are moving about half a kilometer a second. So they're moving very quickly. They move in straight lines until they hit something, and then they change directions and move in straight lines again. Gases are about 1,000 times less dense than liquids, so there's a lot of empty space in a gas. The molecules are shoulder to shoulder. They're up against each other and they move, but they're not aligned in any particular fashion. Solids are up against each other, but they're in rigid locations. They may or may not take orderly alignment. Orderly alignment will be a crystalline solid. They can still be random, which would be a amorphous solid. And this picture just showing water in three states. We can see two of the states. We see iceberg, so that would be solid water. We see ocean, that would be liquid water. We see clouds, that would be liquid water. Clouds are actually liquid water, water droplets suspended in air. The third physical state we can't see because gaseous water is invisible, just like air. But it would be there. It's in air because water on the surface, the water would be in equilibrium with the air, so there'll be some moisture in the air. So let's see here. anything new here. So shape of a solid is definite. Liquid and gases, which are fluids, are variable. Volume of liquid and solid are fixed. Volume of gas is variable because the compressibility of a gas is significant, but the compressibility of a liquid and solid are small. The reasons for this compressibility is because solids and liquids, the atom molecules are close packed, they're up against each other, there's no room to be compressed. Whereas gases are widely spaced, about 1,000 times empty space compared to the volume of the gas itself. So the molecules are widely spaced and therefore compressible. The fluidity comes from the active motion of liquid and gas. Liquid and gases are fluids because the molecules are in an active location. In solids, they're in a rigid location. They vibrate, but they don't move past each other. So liquids and solids are called condensed states. Liquids and gases are called fluids. So a term we might come across is a phase. We have a solid, liquid, gas. These are different phases. But we can have two different liquids together, such as salad dressing, oil and vinegar. We have oil on top, vinegar on bottom. They're both liquids, but they're different phases. So a phase is a homogeneous system with definable boundaries that can be physically separated from each other. So we can separate the oil from the vinegar just by pouring it off or siphoning it off. They're both liquids, but they're different phases. The element carbon, the solid can be graphite or the solid can be diamond. These are both just pure carbon, but they're two different types of solid carbon. So they're two different phases of solid carbon. So for the matter that we look at, we're going to be looking at the composition of matter. That is, what makes it up, what compounds, what elements. So what makes up the matter, whether it's pure or impure. And the other thing that we look at are properties. Properties would be melting point, color, hardness. So we can describe our matter by composition and by properties.